All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Staying Connected, where we explore the depths of self, the people around us, and our environment. We hope to uncover any life lessons through our experiences, reflect on meaningful relationships built along the way, and to ultimately learn about one another through open and honest conversations. How's it going, guys? I'm Kenny.
And I'm Scott. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. So as you can see, we have, or if you're watching on YouTube, there's a change in environment. We're back to close proximity.
Yes.
Plus another change, we have our first guest today, our good friend David. We decided to, have hi, yeah, say hi, David. Say hi. But we decided to have a guest, to just to get the feel for having guests in the future, and we feel really comfortable talking with David about anything. He's very open, so this is very good first video to do with a guest. So let's go ahead and jump to the first topic of, we've been talking about COVID-19, and so it's been affecting both of us, and we talked about that in the first couple episodes, but just wanted to throw it at you, David, on how it has affected you, any struggles, any lessons, and where are you at right now?
I remember when COVID first started that it definitely reduced the amount of hours that I was working up at the Hawaii State Capitol, and I had to be able to get used to working at home. And it was a bit different because I didn't know exactly what to expect, and I didn't have a boss that was always checking up on me. In a way, it felt liberating, but in a way, it felt the dynamics were a little bit more different at that time. My job ended in May, and on the professional side, that's what happened. On family-wise, since I live with my grandparents and a younger brother, I have to be more cautious and being able to make sure that I don't get it, because sometimes I do go out to the gym and I do go out to coffee shops, and being able to think about my grandparents while this whole thing is still going on. Thankfully, that vaccine that says it's gonna help hopefully does come around sometime soon. It's a bit of a hassle, I would say, just because of the fact that sometimes my grandparents do go out grocery shopping and do go out and eat, and so the whole COVID thing has been it's made me a lot more cautious. It's made me a lot more, I wouldn't say paranoid, but just made me be more aware of like where I'm going to, who I'm hanging around with, and how long I should be outside, considering that I live with my family, especially my grandparents.
Let me interject there, and I'll pitch this question to all of us. Throughout history, there has been really life-altering events that happen. So, for example, the Great Depression, World Wars and such. And I think COVID-19 is another one of those events where it alters human behavior.
It truly does.
So now it has normalized masks. So I just want to get your guys' opinion on that. It's like, what's the future gonna look like in like the next couple years? Anything else gonna get normalized that wasn't before?
Yeah. I mean, first off, with the whole rule about wearing your mask, that is one thing that we all had to really adjust to at the beginning of COVID. A lot of people would forget their mask, and now everybody leaves their house with a mask. And the concept of social distancing, being 6 feet apart, was also another rule that was implemented throughout the past couple months, and it has become the new normal. And I see it, just happening throughout however long it will be. And David, what's your take on this, and how has all these changes throughout COVID affected you and your lifestyle moving forward?
The one thing about COVID that really challenged me was the whole stay-at-home lockdown. I don't like staying at home. I never particularly enjoyed it because I'm an extrovert. I enjoyed being able to go outside, and being able to stay inside for a long amount of time really did mess with my mental health in a bit. I was depressed for a while because I felt as though I just couldn't do anything at that point. And I said, well, man, since I can't be able to do anything, then what's the point of being able to just even try? Since I can't go inside, see my friends, And even though for a fact I did call up people, text people, and be able to do Zoom calls like this, it never can be able to replace the real feeling of actually meeting a person
Not
or
the same.
friends or somebody face to face, because exactly it has like a different dynamic. It has a different relationship. So honestly, the biggest struggle that I had with COVID was to just to go with the flow, not think too much about it, and try to be able to find ways to manage my mental health and emotional health pretty well. Because some days it'll be slow, but I had to be able to find some alternative ways to keep myself occupied.
I think we discussed, one thing we picked up during COVID, to help, um, you know, combat against the mental health stuff and being lonely and whatever, because we have all this time at home by ourselves, and we have all this time to work on other stuff. And I'll just throw it back up there, and if you picked up anything new lately, or David, you picked up anything, but for myself, uh, spending a lot of time thinking about this whole situation and doing some deep self-reflection on a lot of people are complaining about, and rightfully so, complaining about how 2020 is taking away some of the best times of their life and taking them away from like weddings and birthday parties and just out there having fun with their friends. But for myself, it was more of a, okay, 2020 has been pretty rough, but how can I make the best of it? How can I set myself up for future successes? What good habits can I start building now? And one of those mental, I guess I would say, cleansing for myself was to accept that some things, like you said, David, sometimes you gotta let it flow by. Like instead of fighting it so much, like, oh, this sucks, like everyone's going through it and I don't know what to do. Just let it, embrace it, and just, all the bad times are gonna roll by, but like all things, it's gonna subside, and just being okay with that. Being okay with just being by myself, being okay with just knowing the fact that things are gonna change forever, at work, with friends and such, and that's okay. The only thing I can control is how I react to those things. Like if someone makes you really mad, like someone cuts you off, on the road, there's a couple things you can do. You can like honk, you can roll down the window, flip them off, yell at them, but is that going to change the situation?
It is not.
Not really. It's just going to make you more emotional, and you're going to expend more emotional energy. Instead, you can be like, it's cool, whatever's happened. At least I didn't get into an accident. Now I would waste more time. Now my insurance goes up, all because I lost control temporarily.
Yeah, I think over the past couple months, we really were put to the test on how we deal with all these challenges occurring, just physically being apart, mentally just being unstable at times. And it is something that we really needed to adjust and find solutions to. And I guess back in our like first couple of episodes, we were talking about mental health and how the whole COVID situation really affected our mental health and what is our solution to that. So, there's working parents, there's college students, there's just a wide range of demographics that um, and ultimately everybody has their own challenges and schedule throughout the day. So basically, for each of us, we really had to find our own new lifestyle, you could say. um, I mean, I know for me, like picking up different hobbies, new hobbies like cooking, for example, that was one thing, I could easily do at home. Along the way, I found myself learning a lot more about my own culture, which I haven't knew about in for a while.
Do you want to share an interesting fact?
Yeah, so I guess based off of my experience with cooking and trying different foods, I decided to start my own food blog called Come Eat Hawaii. And, I've seen it grow since the beginning of COVID, and not just in followers and all that, but more so just my connection with the foods we have here in Hawaii and also my culture. So it is a hobby that turned into a passion, and hopefully later on turns into something that will inspire other people. So
monetize from it.
Because yeah. So David, how about you? How has any new hobbies you picked up, and how have you dealt with your mental health over the course of this pandemic that we're currently dealing with?
Oh, that's a lot to unpack. Where should I start off? I think the one thing that one hobby that I've been doing is that I've been listening to like Audible and reading, and I'm not a good reader. I daydream easily whenever I read books, but lately I said I'm gonna be inside. I have a lot of time, and so I've been listening to Audible, and I finished a couple of books. That's one major thing too, and I've learned a lot from those books too. Journaling has been another hobby that I've been doing recently, primarily because of the fact that since I needed a way to be able to express, I needed an outlet because I had a lot of things going through my mind, and so for me to be able to release it, one of the best ways I found was just to be able to pick up a pen, write it down, write how I feel, and be expunged from my thoughts. Another thing that I would do is that I would just do home workouts. They wouldn't be too intense, but it'd be enough for me to be able to at least get my heart going and make me sweat for a bit.
David, what do you do for your home
At the
workout?
same time, I just try to find. So what I do is that I do push-ups. I use push-up bars, and then I have a dip machine. I do dips, push-ups, dips, and then I do not pull-ups. Forgot what they're called. They're rows. So essentially, I just have to rows to do my back muscles, and then I have about 15-pound dumbbells, and I do curls to shoulder raises. That way, I can at least be able to like focus on every muscle group and a little bit of squats. And man, I'm not a huge fan of legs, but I still do it here and there just to keep myself in shape. But it, those all things like that, it just got me to adapt and adapt to the situation that I was in and gave me a no excuse approach because I'm at home. I'm like, okay, I absolutely have no excuse. I can do this. I can do that. Um, since I'm going to be up the entire day, I can spend an hour on this, an hour on that. And that's pretty much what it came down to.
I know over the past couple months, everybody really had to get creative with their own lifestyle. Um, for example, working out at home, because here in Hawaii, the gyms were closed, and for everybody to hear that, it was very shocking because they're not used to working out at home as much as at the gym. So um, props to you for being creative on your workout routines and trying your best to stay at home to fight this pandemic that we're dealing with.
Mm-hmm. So take from Kenny about being creative. He uses suitcases, but the results they do show. So he is a lot leaner. He is a lot leaner.
Everybody looks good, and
Kenny, you got real lean. Like I saw your muscles.
It's all about that keto diet as well. So
I'm super lean. I'm like, bro.
really helped out with just knowing what I put into my body and just supporting local and like buying local vegetables and just trying my best to keep that consistent lifestyle as everybody here is trying to do.
On that topic, we should really find a day or date to like really work out together. It'll be fun, like we can put us through the.
That'd be challenging.
Yeah, so it's like a way to bond.
Yeah. So I mean, aside from like eating dinner and all that, working out is a different activity that we all can participate and also have fun in, and
it's free.
It's free.
It's free.
And we all need some fresh air as well.
We should get a mat. Exactly. I was thinking we should get a mat. I got my no-gi shorts and my rash guard.
David wants to do a little jujitsu.
We're gonna roll right now.
Right.
We can make that happen. Let's go ahead and switch gears into one of the topics that I wanted to talk to both of you guys about. I didn't want to get super political on this, because I know that when it does, things get bad. But by the time this episode, it already happened. So
yeah,
the process is ongoing. But the election has. It's an ongoing process. It's currently happening right now, but it seems to be a clear winner. I guess my question to you guys is, what were your thoughts as this was going on, leading up to it? Your thoughts going after, and you don't have to tell me who you voted for, but just tell me like your overall process. The people around you, media. Maybe you can touch upon like local election. I know Kenny's really he's in media, so give us some good insight on that.
I mean, first off, working in media, I guess there's so many different moving parts to it, and for me, I'm not a political person. I watch what's happening with each of the candidates that's running, but I try not to get too deep into all of that. That craze that's happening. And locally here, it was a pretty interesting race, especially for the mayoral campaign race that was happening, because the two guys that ended up running against each other, they were fresh into this race, completely no experience with being in politics and all that. And so that was something that really caught the attention of many locals here in Hawaii. And in addition to that, we had the presidential election that occurred the same time as well. And that was also something that not just the whole country, but the whole world was looking into. And I just remember like a lot of my friends from different countries, like for example, Korea, they kind of messaged me saying, how's the situation with the presidential election?
Right.
And I just told them like, we're still waiting on results, and everybody's anticipating who's going to be elected. And of course, within the past year, there's a lot that happened with the whole Black Lives Matter and climate change, all of that. So it was a time where a lot of people really made the effort to go out, and overwhelmingly, record-breakingly, we received the most votes in the nation's history. And that was just amazing to see.
It felt like this time their vote mattered a little bit more. But for yourself, are you glad that this is over, or are you taking the side of, okay, now that this is over, let's see all the change that will be made,
I know with the new elected president, which is Joe Biden, there's gonna be a lot of things that he really has to start right away before he even makes that transition into the actual White House. With our current president as well, I think, both of them really have to collaborate with each other to kind of move things forward into a hopeful direction, you could say. And I am a person of hopefulness, and I put my trust into whoever is leading the country moving forward.
It's like whoever wins, my mindset is like, I want them to be successful. It doesn't matter which political party that they're part of, because when they're successful, us as citizens, we benefit from that. Like if the economy is doing well, businesses get to thrive, employees get a pay raise, their wages go up, the stock market goes up. So everybody wins, I don't want a president to do bad, but that's negatively directly
Yeah,
affects us.
affecting us.
So David, what are your thoughts?
Honestly, this has been one of the more, it's crazy. Before the election, I mean, you had, again, like Kenny mentioned about the whole Black Lives Matter, and that triggered tons of storms and fights and protests across this entire country. I've known people on both sides of the spectrum who unfriended each other on Facebook and other social platforms, which does not solve anything. It's really immature, honestly. It really broke up a lot of people, families, friends, and I talked to a person and she knows 5 couples who got divorced because of the whole Black Lives Matter issue, which shows in perspective exactly just how crazy and how um, influential and impactful the protest was all about. And I just kept on saying, to me, honestly, it was toxic. That's literally what I can say about the whole thing because I saw people literally arguing on both sides of the spectrum. Every time I would go on social media and somebody's story, they would continuously post about this and that, and I would see another person do the exact same thing. And I understand people have the right to be able to post and freely speak and all, but to continuously keep on, saying that over and over again, I had to take a break from social media because of the fact that it was just affecting me and it was bothering me the entire time. And then, of course, with Trump and Biden going at it against one another and those debates, that's another topic to be discussed upon. But it clearly showed exactly how, just how, just how, just how downhill this country was like starting to honestly go to. And Joe Biden became president, and even if he does, and even after he is president, there's still going to be a lot of political problems. There's still going to be a lot of issues because Democrats and Republicans are polarized, and it's tough for them to be able to just see exactly find common ground because of the fact of on certain issues, and because you have Congress, you have the House of Representatives, and then you have the Senate, and then of course you have the president, and there's going to be a lot of gridlock. That's what I believe, and that's what's going to happen. And the next year may get better, it may get worse, but hopefully I am going to say that hopefully it does get better, because this year was very insane. It was crazy. We all seen exactly how hurtful, how just impactful negatively it has done to all of us. Um, Politics is a nasty business, but that's always expected. But I believe that we can be better, that we can actually choose to be better at the end of the day.
So let's unpack that for a little bit. I have some thoughts. It's a classic example of us versus them mentality. You know, once you join like a group or a party, you know, there will be negative stereotypes that the group will say about the other party or the other group. You know, because think about it. You know, once you join a group, right, you feel that bond of like, oh, it's the good guys versus the bad guys. And once it starts becoming like that, you dehumanize other people, and they're no longer people that you can talk to, people that you can reason with. They're just savages basically that they can't be reasoned with, and the only thing they're good for is just all the bad stuff that they do.
And you're put into a situation where you have to believe what your party is believing.
You have to choose
because
it becomes a zero-sum game where nobody really wins anything, or if there is something to win. And that's just the sad part. It's like during events like these where there's a lot of conflict, it's the perfect time to sit down and talk about it. Like, let me hear your thoughts. I don't agree with what you said, but we're still brothers and sisters. We're still human beings. I want to hear you out. Because even though we might disagree on ideologies, that doesn't mean that we can't be friends. Because I have a lot of friends that on both sides of the political spectrum, they believe in many different things. And I know a lot of people want to You know, if you voted for this candidate or this candidate, that means you take on every single ideology and belief that they have. When in truth, that's not true. You know, just because you believe in something doesn't mean everything is attributed to you.
Yeah.
You know, so we really have to take a step back and think about, you know, just because this person thinks differently than me doesn't mean that person is bad. You know, it's just like someone hits your car. Is that person a bad person forever? No, maybe they might have made a mistake.
Yeah.
So that's how I see all this. Is like, you know, if there's conflict, that is the exact perfect time to understand that person. Let me listen to you, not to reply, but to understand. You know, it's tough.
It is.
It's not easy.
And the fact that you were, I mean, a lot of us too have been in the middle of this political spectrum, seeing both sides and, you know, trying to understand both sides at the same time. And, you know, moving forward, it is important for us to understand and also collaborate with each other because, you know, we're the United States of America. And, you know, we all just have to come together somehow, some way, someday.
I was reading an article about Pandora's box. Basically, hope leaves Pandora's box last because with hope, you know, even when things are really grim, you're still able to change things around because you have a little bit of hope left. And when people say, oh no, 2020 is terrible and next year is not gonna be any different, you know, and all this negative stuff, it's like, you know, don't lose hope. As long as there's a little bit left and you believe in yourself and you believe in the goodness of other people, which I think everyone's capable of, we've just been so conditioned and we've been fed, you know, to like anytime someone makes a mistake, it's like, okay, let's zoom in on that, you know, and that's all they're working
on you, yeah.
You know, it's like someone can say 10 nice things about you, but then you're gonna remember that one negative one instead of the 10 nice things.
Yeah.
All of this, I mean, we're winding up the year, and to experience all of this within the past couple months, it is just, you know, it's overwhelming. And our mental health is very much impacted by all of this. And yeah, I mean, really appreciate you, David, for taking the time to speak your mind and also share with us how you've been dealing with everything on top of, I mean, the election, COVID, and just personal, concerns and all of that. So,
speaking about personal things, do you guys have any goals? You have set it. Actually, let's turn it back a little bit. At the beginning of the year, are you guys the type to set goals and then you check what you accomplished at the end of the year? Yes.
Generally, it's usually like weight stuff, fitness, all of that. But aside from that, you know, we always have these New Year's resolutions that, let's say, like maybe 5 months into the new year, it's already slacking already. So, yeah, look at how 2020 turned out.
How about you, David? Any goals that you've accomplished so far in 2020?
Honestly, no. My goals kept on changing. I think the only goal that I really kept on, I kept going with just my fitness goal, like being healthy, you know, like eating cleaner sources of food and being able to actually grow in terms of changing up my workout, being able to experiment with different exercises, sets, reps, and trying out different workout routines. Just being in general, being able to grow in my fitness journey. That's the only consistent thing that I have been doing so far, besides being able to pick up with healthy habits and trying to reinforce and maintain it. Like, you know, sleeping for 8 to 9 hours, being able to journal and meditate and all this other stuff too.
Okay, so not only the physical side, but also like the overall mental and spiritual side with the journaling and thinking. Awesome. Have you guys started goal setting for 2021?
I mean, I haven't yet, but I just want to continue to be hopeful and seek as many opportunities to learn more about myself and
What do you want to learn about yourself?
more so about my culture. So yeah, I mean, I started this food blog that was kind of a resource that allowed me to open that door to learning more about my culture. But, you know, in the long run, I do want to start learning how to speak Filipino, which is my culture. And yeah, that is one of the goals that I try to set for myself from now um, till later on when I have kids, all of that, to be able to speak fluently and understand my history, my culture, and yeah, just being able to share that with other people.
So 2021 goals, David. Do you have any goals that you have, or anything that you want to achieve, either professionally or personally?
Professionally, I do want to have a side hustle. I like you guys like I mentioned in my Instagram stories, I do build websites using Wix. Business hasn't been that good this past year because of COVID. Clients haven't been popping up. So hopefully by next year, I get to be able to actually improve and actually get more clients for my side hustle. Also, I am thinking about starting a YouTube channel that's been on my mind for some time now. However, I'm not in the position to be able to do so. Hopefully by next year, I can actually launch it.
What's the
Though I'm trying to
concept?
find out. See, that's something I'm still working with. I'm trying to think whether it be like comedy or just some weird stuff, basically.
Do
I
reaction
mean, I thought
channel,
Yeah,
reaction.
that works. That works. That could work out.
And
What
you can
else
cook
was
for you.
there?
yeah, you can feature my food and I'll make a whole
Or I
lot.
could maybe I should do like ASMR.
Yeah,
That could work out too. Like, hello guys, welcome to the channel. It's nice to see you
fried
again.
chicken.
Let me read.
I'm hungry for right now.
Yeah. But those are like the two main ones I have at the moment, and of course, like be better in my fitness journey as well. Just getting stronger in what I lift and being able to develop more muscle. That's really about it. Those are the goals that I've got so far. Hopefully, not hopefully, but surely I'll get those goals going.
So I'm just curious, how come you're not in the position to start it right now?
You know, it's because I don't know what content I want to put out. I don't have the equipment yet. I don't, you know, I'm just not mentally there. You know, I'm just not in, you know, in that position where I can just have time to be trying to brainstorm what it is, what content, how it should be. You know, the equipment is there. You know, I don't have the equipment. It's a little bit, it just doesn't feel right. It just it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel as though I should be launching it anytime soon.
A lot of planning ahead. Then.
Yeah. I want to make sure that I have consistent uploads, consistent scheduling, that I'm very sure this is what I want to put out.
That's like the opposite of us.
we just put it
we
out
just
there.
did it. Visually,
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of like what's a good metaphor for our podcast? So okay, imagine like a burger. On the outside, it looks pretty dry. And it's not like the fanciest burger. What's on the inside?
What's on the inside matters.
Juicy,
yes.
tender, flavorful.
Yeah.
You know, so that's
throw in some side of fries while you're at it too.
That's how I feel our podcast
surprises.
Like, you know, some gems in there.
Yeah.
Like, this is the burger is worth what I paid for.
Yeah.
So just to on a whole horn. But for myself, no, I used to be really big on like 1 year, 5 year, 10-year goals. But you know, as this year has come to show us that, you know, sometimes those aren't very feasible goals. And you guys heard about SMART goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, measurable, specific, all that. But you know, when sometimes there's events like this happens, it completely flips your world upside down. So for myself, it's not really about goals anymore. It's about just creating as much habits and as much mindsets as possible to shift me towards that direction.
Yeah.
You know, because I might be slowly trending, but if I can shift my mindset or build habits that can, you know, exponentially make me better instead of going in a steady upward, maybe I can go exponentially a little bit more. And an example with that would be like, since we're talking about fitness so much, before one of my goals was just to, you know what, I want to bench 2 plates, 225 pounds. But, you know, that's a very arbitrary goal. For now, myself will be like, okay, let's work on a program where I can slowly increase my reps, increase my volume, you know, and then do that consistently without getting hurt. Now that's way more specific. That's measurable, and I know I'm gonna get over time. And I actually did. You know, I could do way more at 225. You know, boasting a little, you know, boy's a little strong, but I found like instead of having goals like that, just right at the top, you're aiming for like the star. Like just have little steps in between, and then once you show up and do a little work, you'll get there. You'll get there so much better too. And now that you have all those little steps, it's habits.
Consistency.
It's not work anymore. Yeah, and then you get to fall in love with the process, which I'm starting to learn that it's amazing. You know, the process is amazing. The struggle it takes to get up there. And then all the little things that you have to figure out, especially for this podcast, learning how to edit videos, learning social media, learning how to, the outlines for guests, you know, what we should do, what we shouldn't do. So I'm learning so much just from doing all the little things. So
it's a constant learning opportunity for everyone and everything that we do. So
let's go ahead and transition right into our recommendation of the week. Could be a quote, a movie, tip, anything. You want to start?
Anything.
Me?
Yeah, I'll simply start.
You wrote it down.
I wrote it down because I needed to make a note. Because literally, we're in the holiday season, and you know, giving thanks is pretty important, and you know, just to kind of show your appreciation for those around you, even to those that you haven't really talked to in a while that you really appreciate. So here's my recommendation: send a thank you note to someone. Simple as that.
You know, with a social media message about like thankful. I'm thankful for that.
Anything, social media, email, a phone call, just any sort of way. I know in the past we talked about like paying it forward. I think so. That kind of relates with just giving thanks. And yeah, so whenever you have the chance, just reach out and make that effort into showing your appreciation in any way you can.
I'm thankful for Kenny and David.
Yes, I'm thankful for all of you. And yeah, let's continue this adventure.
My recommendation would be to try not to like criticize, condemn, or complain. Have you guys read that book from Dale Carnegie?
Yes.
So the idea is to like it's never a good idea to like criticize, condemn, or complain just only because I could be in that other person's shoe. It's not really producing anything. It's more destructive. And I found that when I stopped actually, you know, talking about people, because I think there was a quote saying small minds discuss about people, average minds discuss about the events, and future and productive or successful minds discuss about the future. I find that when I stop talking, you know, about people in general, that's more liberating. And, you know, because, you know, that person is as different as me, and that person has different set of circumstances. Like, you know, for example, the whole politics, like two sides, they have different circumstances and why or how they came to be that person. I find just like to not give them more energy than they actually deserve, if that makes sense.
Oh, it totally does. Why criticize and condemn when you can make an effort to understand and learn, you know, and take the alternative path. You know, sometimes you don't have to smash through a brick wall to get to where you're at. You know, like you can't get over. Hey, let me let me help you up,
Mhm.
and then can you help me up afterwards? Something like that. Oh, awesome.
That's what we need.
That's also a very good book. I recommend that book too. My recommendation, I have been having some trouble sleeping because I live next to a bar, right?
Mm.
And they're very loud. I'm a incredibly light sleeper, incredibly light. So even I need complete silence in order to sleep soundly, you know. So what I recommend is the brown noise. You guys ever heard of that? You heard of white noise,
I
right?
heard of white noise.
There's like pink noise, and then brown noise is my favorite because it sounds kind of like water or like rain almost.
Oh.
It's super soothing. For some reason, I've tried rain. I tried like raindrops and different types of water, you know, but I can still hear people. But with brown noise, my goodness, it's like I'm in my own world. I hear nothing but that. It just blocks out every other noise, and then you sleep like a baby.
Kind of like just search up brown noise, and then it'll.
Yeah, you can. I think there is an app for that, and I just have it on a timer, like 30 minutes, because I know I'll fall asleep in 30 minutes. Some people use the YouTube thing, like they just leave it on. Yeah. But I find that drains your battery, so 30 minutes for me is perfect. And you know, I just leave it like a little bit away from my ear. Could you leave it too close, you know, for like 6-7 hours, you're gonna definitely feel it in the morning. So 30 minutes, a little bit away. I guarantee you, if you have trouble sleeping in any way, there's like noise around, brown noise, you're gonna sleep very well.
I need some of that.
Again, thank you, Dave. Is there anything? Go ahead and tell us your do you have like a website or like something for the website design business that your side hustle that you're doing? Just to give you a
Yes, www.davidresumecv.com. www.davidresumecv.com.
Awesome. So if you need a website, go check out David. He's awesome. He's not only awesome as a friend, but also awesome as a website designer. So cool. Thank you for joining us for another episode.
We appreciate all of you for tuning in. Appreciate you, David, for sharing everything with us. And thank you, Scott, for finally, you know, we made it to just physically being able to do this podcast together. So, we just want to send our thanks for tuning in. And
we have decided, you know how each boy band girl group, they have a fandom, right? So we've decided, you know, instead of calling you guys the guys, the listeners, you're now connectors. And one of the things behind that connect is like being a connector means you're actively taking the steps necessary to connect with someone, you know, building that relationship instead of it being really passive and relying on the other person. So it's more of you taking initiative, you stepping out of your comfort zone to build a relationship with another person. And connectors just seem cool, you know.
With a K.
Yeah, with a K, connectors. So fellow connectors, thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next time.
Sweet. All right. See you guys.
Take care, guys.